Have you ever noticed how a younger woman can smile at an older man, laugh at his jokes, yet secretly lose interest the moment he opens his mouth? You might be older, experienced, successful, but somehow she's not chasing you. Why? Here's the brutal truth. Younger women don't hate older men. They hate certain habits older men bring, habits that silently destroy attraction. The little things, the actions that scream insecurity, desperation, or ego, and most older guys have no clue they're doing them. Right now, in London, New York, or Sydney, older men are unknowingly pushing women away. They overtext. They brag about their past. They act needy. They overcompensate with money or status, and every single habit chips away at the natural allure they could have. Imagine this. You meet a 25-year-old woman at a coffee shop in Manchester. She's laughing, engaged, intrigued, and then he starts one of these subtle, unattractive habits. Within minutes, the spark fades. She isn't angry. She's quietly judging, and her desire for him evaporates without him even realizing why. This isn't about age. It's about behavior. The older you are, the more critical these habits become, because she expects confidence, calm authority, and self-mastery, not insecurity disguised as experience. In this video, I'm going to expose the 7 habits younger women hate when older men do them, the habits that make them lose respect, interest, and desire. Even if you're rich, successful, or charming, stay with me, because the moment you recognize these habits in yourself, you can flip the script. You can go from being overlooked to irresistible. And trust me, one of these habits will hit so close to home you'll feel it in your chest. Trying to act young instead of being grounded. Mark used to think the secret was staying young. Not young in spirit, young in costume. Ripped jeans, loud sneakers, slang he learned from TikTok. Talking about parties like he was still in college. One night in Los Angeles, he met a 22-year-old girl named Olivia at a rooftop bar. Music was loud, city lights behind them, and for the first few minutes she was curious. Not attracted, just curious. And curiosity is fragile. Mark started telling her how he still goes clubbing every weekend, how he can outdrink guys half his age, how he doesn't feel 40 at all. He laughed too hard. He tried too hard. Olivia smiled politely, but inside something shut down. Because what she didn't see was a man proud of his life. She saw a man running from it. Younger women don't hate older men. They hate older men who are ashamed of being older. There's a difference, and women feel it instantly. When you try to act young, you're silently saying, "Who I am right now isn't enough." And nothing kills attraction faster than a man who doesn't respect his own stage in life. Think about it. If you're 40 or 45, you've lived. You've lost. You've built. You've survived things a 22-year-old guy hasn't even faced yet. That's, your power. But the moment you try to compete with boys, you throw that power away. Olivia didn't want another boy in a man's body. She already had plenty of those in her DMs. What she wanted, even if she couldn't explain it, was a man who felt solid, calm, unrushed. A man who didn't need noise to prove he existed. Later that night, she left early. Mark watched her walk away, telling himself the same lie many older men tell. Girls her age just don't like older guys. Wrong. Girls her age don't like men who look uncomfortable in their own skin. Weeks later, Mark met another girl, Emma, 24, this time in San Diego. Same age range, different energy. This time, Mark didn't talk about partying. He talked about how he enjoys quiet mornings, ocean walks, building something meaningful with his work. He didn't pretend to be 25, he was 42 and he owned it. Emma leaned in. Because grounded men feel safe. And safety is the foundation of desire. Here's what younger women really look for in an older man. Emotional gravity. When you speak, it's slow, measured. When things get awkward, you don't panic. When she tests you, you don't react like a boy trying to impress. You stay centered. That's rare. Most men your age are either bitter or trying to relive their youth. So when a younger woman meets a man who's fully present in who he is now, it stands out like fire in the dark. If you're wearing clothes that don't fit your life, using language that doesn't fit your generation, forcing yourself into trends that don't fit your soul, stop. You're not fooling anyone. You're broadcasting insecurity. Women don't want a man who looks young. They want a man who feels strong. And strength comes from acceptance. From saying, this is my age. This is my life. This is my path. No apology. No performance. The irony is, the moment you stop trying to be young, You become more attractive than you ever were when you were, because now you're not chasing youth. You're embodying depth. And depth is what younger women secretly crave when they look toward older men, flexing money like it's your personality. Mark thought money was his ace card. Nice car, luxury watch, stories about business deals and trips to Dubai. In his mind, money was proof. Proof he had value. Proof he deserved attention. Proof he was different from the broke guys in their 20s. So when he met Emily, 23, in Miami, he made sure she noticed. Car keys on the table. Casual mentions of his condo. A quick glance at his watch while talking. He didn't say, "I'm rich," he didn't have to. He made sure everything about him whispered it. Emily listened and pulled back. Because what she felt wasn't strength. It was compensation. Younger women are not blind. They know older men often have more resources. That's not impressive. That's expected. What they're watching is how you relate to it. Do you carry money like a tool? Or like a crutch? When a man turns every conversation into a reminder of what he owns, he's telling her, "This is all I've got." And deep down, women hear that. They might enjoy the attention, the dinners, the lifestyle. But desire doesn't grow from being shown a wallet. It grows from being shown a man. Emily had been on dates like this before. Men twice her age trying to buy her interest. Offering expensive dinners. Talking about trips they could take her on. Making it clear they could take care of her. And every time she felt the same thing. Pressure. Because when a man leads with money, attraction becomes a transaction. She starts wondering, what does he expect in return? And the moment that thought appears, desire disappears. Mark didn't understand that yet. He thought generosity would win her over. He insisted on paying. He talked about what he could provide. He tried to show her a future made of comfort. What he didn't show her was character. A few days later, she stopped replying. Again, Mark blamed age. But again, age wasn't the problem. It was identity. Money should amplify who you are, not replace who you are. If without your resources you feel invisible, women will feel that too. And no matter how young she is, no matter how impressed she looks at first, she won't respect a man who hides behind his bank account. Contrast that with what happened months later in New York. Mark met Sophie, 26, at a small bookstore cafe. This time he didn't mention money at all. He talked about books, ideas, travel for curiosity, not status. He listened more than he spoke. When the bill came, he paid calmly without ceremony. No show, no speech, just ease. Sophie noticed. Because true wealth shows up as comfort, not noise. Younger women are drawn to men who don't need to prove anything. When you're relaxed about what you have, it signals that your value doesn't come from objects. It comes from within. Here's the brutal truth most men don't want to hear. If money is the main reason she's with you, she's not with you. She's with what you can give, and the moment that stops, so will she. But when money is just part of your life and not your story, not your personality, not your weapon, then she gets to discover you. Your humor, your calm, your direction, your presence. That's when attraction becomes real. So stop using money as bait. Use it as support. Let your standards, your boundaries, your discipline, your way of moving through the world speak first. Let money sit quietly in the background. Doing what it's supposed to do. Make life easier, not make you louder. Because younger women don't fall for rich men. They fall for men who feel rich inside, seeking validation and approval like a boy. Daniel was 41 when he met Lily, 23, at a coffee shop in London. She was reading, legs crossed, lost in her own world. Daniel took a breath, walked over, and started a conversation. At first, it flowed. Light jokes. Easy smiles. Lily laughed, and for a moment Daniel felt alive again. But then it started. "So, is this okay?" he asked after making a joke. "Am I boring you? Do you like this place, or should we go somewhere better? Did I say something wrong?" Each question chipped away at the image he was trying to build. He didn't notice it, but Lily did. Because younger women can sense when a man is not leading from confidence, but begging for approval. And nothing dries attraction faster than a man who keeps asking, "Am I enough?" Daniel wasn't trying to be weak. He was just scared. Scared of losing the moment. Scared of being rejected. Scared that his age meant he had to be perfect to compete. So he overchecked. And in doing that, he told Lily a silent story. "Your opinion controls me." Women don't want that power. Not really. They might test it, play with it, even enjoy it for a second. But deep desire doesn't grow from a man who hands over his frame. Lily started leaning back instead of in. Her replies got shorter. Her eyes drifted. Daniel felt it and tried even harder. That's the trap. The more you seek validation, the less you get. Younger women want to feel chosen, not placed on a pedestal. They want to feel like you enjoy them, not like you need them to breathe. There's a huge difference. Enjoyment is attractive. Neediness is suffocating. Think about it from her side. She's in her early 20s. She has attention everywhere. Messages, likes, guys trying to impress her. When she meets an older man, she's not looking for another boy craving reassurance. She's subconsciously looking for emotional leadership. A man who's already solid. A man who doesn't crumble if she pulls back a little. When you keep checking if you're doing okay, you show her that your confidence depends on her reactions. That's not strength. That's emotional debt. Later that week, Lily didn't reply to Daniel's texts. He sent another, and another, each message softer than the last. Each one asking without words, please don't disappear. She did. Now compare that with what happened to James in Manchester. James was 45. He met Sophie, 24, through mutual friends at a small dinner. He didn't try to impress. He didn't fish for compliments. He joked when he wanted. He went quiet when he wanted. If Sophie laughed, great. If she didn't, he didn't care. Not because he was rude, because he was grounded. At one point, Sophie teased him. You're so calm. Don't you get nervous around younger girls? James smiled. Why would I? I like who I am. That line did more than any compliment ever could, because self-approval is magnetic. When a man doesn't need validation, it creates space, and in that space, a woman's curiosity grows. She starts leaning in. She starts wondering what you're thinking. She starts trying to earn your attention instead of the other way around. That's the reversal most men never achieve. Here's the brutal truth. If you don't respect yourself, no younger woman will do it for you. They can feel it in your tone, your eyes, your pauses, your energy. So stop asking if you're good enough. Start acting like a man who already knows he is. Speak because you want to, not because you're trying to get a reaction. Make decisions without apologizing for them. Let silence exist without rushing to fill it. Let her wonder instead of constantly reassuring herself. Confidence isn't loud. It's still. And when you carry yourself like that, younger women stop seeing you as a man trying to compete. They start seeing you as a man they want to rise up to. Talking bitter about your past and exes. Tom was 47 when he met Chloe, 25, in Sydney. She was bright, curious, full of life. They met at a friend's birthday, and for the first hour, everything felt easy. Chloe liked his stories. Tom liked her energy. There was a spark. Then the past walked into the room. Tom started talking about his ex-wife, how she betrayed him, how women only care about money, how dating today is a mess, how he gave everything and got nothing back. At first, Chloe listened politely. Then she felt something shift, because bitterness has weight. And when a man carries it, everyone around him feels it. Tom wasn't sharing to connect. He was unloading. Years of resentment disguised as honesty. And with every sentence, he wasn't just talking about his ex. He was showing Chloe her future. Younger women don't want to step into a story where the man is already wounded, angry and keeping score. They don't want to feel like they're being auditioned to fix what someone else broke. When an older man keeps bringing up his past pain, he sends a message. I haven't moved on. And no woman wants to compete with ghosts. Chloe tried to change the topic. Tom brought it back, again and again, until the mood died. After that night, Chloe kept her distance. Not because Tom was older, because Tom was heavy. Now here's what men don't understand. Pain isn't unattractive. Unresolved pain is. There's a difference between a man who has scars and a man who still bleeds on everyone he meets. Younger women are drawn to men who feel emotionally complete. Not perfect, but whole. Men who've been through things and came out wiser, not bitter. When you talk about your past with calm acceptance, it shows growth. When you talk about it with anger and blame, it shows you're still trapped there. And women feel that instantly. Later, Tom met another girl, Ava, 27, in Melbourne. This time, he tried something different. When she asked about his past, he said, "It taught me a lot. I'm grateful for who it helped me become." Then he moved on. No rant, no blame, no victim story. Ava leaned in, curious. Not about his ex. About him. Because emotionally free men are rare. Here's what younger women want when they look at an older man. Emotional stability. They want to feel like being with you will add peace to their life, not more drama. If every conversation turns into complaints about women, dating, or your past, relationships, she'll start seeing you as a warning, not an opportunity. She'll think, if he talks about them like this, one day he'll talk about me like this. And she'll be gone. Your past should be a foundation, not a prison. Share lessons, not wounds. Share growth, not grudges. Show her that you've lived, learned, and let go. That tells her you're safe to build something new with. Because younger women aren't afraid of your history. They're afraid of being dragged into it. So if you want her to stay, stop reliving what hurt you. Start embodying what healed you. That's what makes an older man feel powerful instead of broken. And that's what keeps a younger woman leaning toward you, not away. Acting like her father, not her man. Richard was 49 when he started dating Emily, a 26-year-old marketing executive from London. She was sharp, stylish, and independent. But she also had that playful energy that made Richard feel young again. At first, everything was perfect. Emily admired his maturity, his calmness, the way he didn't overreact to little things like the guys her age did. But slowly, without realizing it, Richard began to shift roles. Instead of being her man, he became her father. It started with small things, correcting her pronunciation, telling her how she should dress more, modestly, advising her not to post selfies online, reminding her to save money. At first, Emily smiled. It almost felt caring. But soon it felt suffocating. Because here's what most older men forget. Younger women aren't dating you to be raised, they're dating you to be inspired. Richard thought he was helping her. He thought his wisdom, his experience, his guidance would make her love him more. But what he didn't realize is that attraction dies the moment a woman feels controlled. You can't mentor your way into her heart. Emily began to rebel in subtle ways. Canceling plans last minute, posting photos that she knew would irritate him, going quiet during conversations. Not because she stopped liking him, but because she felt like she was losing herself. When a man starts correcting, guiding, and controlling a woman like a parent, she stops feeling like his lover. And when that happens, she emotionally checks out. Richard didn't notice the switch. One night at a rooftop bar in Shoreditch, Emily said quietly, "You don't listen to me anymore, Richard. You just talk at me." That line hit harder than any breakup. Here's the truth. Younger women crave leadership, not lecturing. They want a man who leads by example, not by instruction. A man who inspires her to grow. Not one who constantly reminds her how much she doesn't know. When you act like her father, you kill her curiosity about you. You make her feel small, not safe. If you want her to see you as a man, you must learn to respect her as a woman, even if she's younger. That means letting her have her opinions, her mistakes, her freedom. Because attraction isn't built on control, it's built on trust. The most attractive older men don't tell younger women how to live. They live in a way that makes her want to follow. Richard learned this too late. By the time he realized his mistake, Emily was already seeing someone else, a guy her age. Less experienced, less stable, but emotionally freer. That's the paradox. Women would rather be with a man who lets them breathe than a man who smothers them with guidance. If you want a younger woman to desire you, don't try to parent her. Protect her peace instead. Don't try to fix her, understand her. Don't tell her how to think, make her feel seen. And most importantly, don't make her feel like a little girl in your world. Because the moment she sees you as a father figure, she stops seeing you as a lover. And once that happens, the relationship is done even if she doesn't walk away immediately. Emotionally, she's already gone. You don't need to teach her to love you. You just need to be the kind of man who makes love easy. That's the real difference between guidance and dominance. One invites her in, the other pushes her away. Trying too hard to prove you're still young. Paul was 46 when he started dating Ava, 24, from Los Angeles. She was full of life, always traveling, always on her phone, always with a story about her latest trip or some wild night out. Paul admired her energy, but deep down it scared him. He didn't want her to see him as the old guy. So he started compensating. He bought sneakers 2 sizes too bright, started using Gen Z slang that didn't suit him, pretended to love clubs when all he wanted was a glass of whiskey and jazz. He even got hair dye to hide his grays, thinking it would make him fit in. Ava noticed. She didn't say it at first, but she could feel it. He was performing. And that's the thing about younger women. They can sense inauthenticity instantly. Paul wasn't unattractive because of his age. He was unattractive because he was ashamed of it. The irony? Ava was drawn to him because he was older. She liked his calmness, his composure, his maturity. But when he started acting like her peers, he killed the very thing that made him unique. That's what most older men do wrong. They think the key to connecting with a younger woman is to mimic her world. But the truth is, she already has plenty of boys like that. What she doesn't have is a man who stands out from all of them. You don't need to be young. You need to be timeless. And timeless men don't chase trends, they build presence. When you start pretending to be something you're not, she stops respecting you. It's not about your clothes or slang, it's about energy. The moment a woman feels like you're trying to impress her instead of impact her, she loses attraction. Paul found this out the hard way. One night at a party in West Hollywood, Ava said, "You don't need to act like them." "Paul, that's not what I liked about you." That sentence shattered him. Because deep down he knew she was right. When you own who you are, you radiate confidence. When you hide it, you project insecurity. Older men who embrace their age, who are proud of their experience, their stories, their wisdom, emit a different frequency. It's not the wild, unstable energy of youth. It's the calm, magnetic power of a man who's seen life and mastered it. Women don't want you to compete with younger men. They want you to contrast them. Be the calm in her chaos. Be the certainty in her storm. Be the man who makes her feel safe, not the one who tries to keep up with her friends. Ava didn't want another boy in sneakers pretending to be deep. She wanted a man who could make her feel something real, someone she could learn from, not someone trying to relate to her TikToks. And here's the truth. When you stop proving and start embodying, everything changes. Younger women start chasing your energy, not your style. Your silence becomes more attractive than another guy's bragging. Your composure becomes sexier than his desperation. That's the secret of masculine maturity. It doesn't try to be loud, it just is. Paul eventually learned that lesson. He stopped pretending. He grew his beard back, wore what he actually liked, and started living on his own terms again. And guess what? That's when Ava came back, because the man who stopped trying became the man she couldn't stop thinking about. So stop chasing youth. Own your edge. Because when you stop running from your age, women start running toward your energy. That's the paradox of attraction. Authenticity is always younger than imitation. Trying to buy her attraction with money, Mark was 52 when he met Sophie, a 25-year-old art student in Brighton. She had paint on her fingers, fire in her eyes, and a laugh that made him feel like time had rewound itself. Mark had money, stability, a big house near the coast, and years of business wins behind him. In his mind, he thought, this is my edge. This is what makes me attractive. So he used it. First date, a luxury seafood restaurant on the pier. Second date, a surprise shopping trip. Third date, concert tickets front row. Every time Sophie hesitated, Mark smiled and said, "Don't worry, I've got it." At first, Sophie was impressed. Who wouldn't be? But slowly something shifted. She stopped looking at him with curiosity and started looking at him with calculation. Because here's the brutal truth most older men don't want to hear. Younger women don't hate money. They hate feeling like money is the only reason you think they're there. Mark didn't realize it. But every gift carried an invisible message. I don't trust my personality. I don't trust my presence. I don't trust myself. So I'll let my wallet speak for me. And that message kills attraction. Sophie began to feel like a product being purchased, not a woman being desired. When Mark paid, he expected something in return. More time, more attention, more affection. And when she didn't give it, his tone changed. "You know how much I do for you," he'd say, half joking, half serious. That's when Sophie started pulling away. Because women, especially younger women, can sense when generosity turns into leverage. They don't want to feel owned. They want to feel chosen. There's a massive difference. Mark thought he was being impressive. But in Sophie's mind, he was trying to buy what other men earned naturally. Excitement, connection, desire. And here's the painful irony. Money can open doors, but it can't make her want to stay in the room. One evening, walking along the Brighton seafront, Sophie finally said it. "I like you, Mark, but sometimes it feels like you're trying to pay for me to like you back." That sentence crushed him, because deep down he knew it was true. Older men often fall into this trap because they think resources equal respect. In the world of business, that works. In attraction, it backfires. A younger woman doesn't want to feel like your investment portfolio. She wants to feel your presence, your confidence, your edge, your masculinity. When you lead with money, you silently tell her, This is all I bring. And once she believes that, she stops seeing you as a man and starts seeing you as a provider, and providers are safe. But they're rarely desired. Look at Daniel, 47, from Leeds. He dated Mia, 23, a law student. Daniel had money too, but he never used it to impress. He kept dates simple: coffee, walks, deep conversations. When he paid, it was natural, not performative. He didn't flash. He didn't brag. He didn't rescue. And that's exactly why Mia was drawn to him. She once told him, "You make me feel wanted, not bought." That's the line. Younger women want to feel like you choose them because you desire them, not because you can afford them. When an older man tries to buy attraction, it creates a silent imbalance. He feels entitled. She feels pressured. And pressure kills romance. Sooner or later, she either rebels or replaces you with someone who makes her feel free. Mark learned this too late. Sophie didn't leave for a richer man. She left for a broke musician her age who made her laugh, challenged her, and never made her feel like she owed him anything. That's the part that hurts. It was never about money. It was about energy. A man who believes his value comes from his wallet will always be competing. A man who knows his value comes from who he is will never need to. Money should be a tool in your life, not your identity in her eyes. Pay for dates if you want. Be generous if it's genuine. But never use money as bait and never as a leash. Because the moment she feels your generosity has strings attached, she stops trusting your intentions. And when trust dies, attraction follows. If you're an older man dating a younger woman, understand this: she already knows you have more resources. That's not impressive. That's expected. What she's looking for is something rarer: presence, confidence, emotional strength. A man who doesn't need to prove anything. When you stop trying to buy her interest and start earning her emotions, everything changes. She laughs more. She leans in more. She chooses you more. Not because you paid, but because you mattered. Mark eventually got it. After Sophie left, he stripped his life back to basics. He stopped leading with money and started rebuilding himself. Gym, purpose, silence, strength. Months later, he met someone new in a small cafe in Hove. No luxury, no show, just conversation. And for the first time in years, he felt something different. He felt chosen. That's the lesson. You can't buy desire. You can only become the man who creates it. And when you do, your money becomes a bonus, not the reason. Because younger women don't want a walking wallet. They want a man. Conclusion: at the end of the day, it's never about age, it's about the energy you bring, the habits you carry, and the way you make her feel. Younger women are not rejecting your experience, your success, or even your charm. They are reacting to the small, often invisible habits that silently push them away. By understanding these 7 unattractive habits, you've already taken the first step toward becoming the kind of man who naturally commands respect, attention, and desire. It's about self-awareness, self-control, and mastering the subtle art of attraction.
Change these behaviors and you don't just capture her interest.
You ignite a magnetic pull that makes her choose you over anyone else, regardless of age. Remember, confidence isn't loud, charm isn't forced. True attraction comes from becoming the man who's calm, composed, and irresistibly self-assured. Stop the behaviors that sabotage your chances. Cultivate the habits that amplify your value, and watch the dynamic shift entirely. The spark she felt at first glance can now grow into undeniable desire. She won't just like you. She'll chase your attention, respect your presence, and quietly fantasize about being with the man who finally understands what women truly value. Take these lessons seriously, implement them relentlessly, and watch how the world and the younger women in it start responding to you differently. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.